Happy Friday! Happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome, everybody, and I'm hoping you are having a fabulous day so far. Whew! Good morning, good morning. Energetically, it's a pretty good day. Just saying. Um, as I just wanted observation, just taking, stepping away a little bit from the spiritual realm and stepping into the muggle world on what's unfolding for us at this time. Not This isn't to get you down on a downer of the energies, but just observation of what I have been observing. First of all, we need lipstick, don't we? We need lipstick. There you go. That's not a bad color. I just grab a lipstick. I have a few here. I just grab them. So I need lipstick. So a few things on my observation is there's still, they're still wanting to push a narrative or push a fear. And you can see as we go out into our world, those who are still living in that fear. You go into the grocery stores and people are like, ooh, still all masked up. Went for coffee the other day with a beautiful, beautiful soul sister. And just sitting there watching people come in to the mall. It was so interesting. And I'm a people watcher, and I think many of you out there are people watchers. But I also watch people's energies, and that's kind of like what I do. So I sit there nonchalantly watching people and watching their energies. And it's amazing how many people are really fearful but unaware, like fearful. Like I saw this lovely couple go in with this cute little one. Like this little one was not even two, all masked up going into the mall. And I'm just like, what the hell? That poor little guy needs to breathe. And he's running around. How the hell is he breathing? And so, watching that and the parents making sure, keep pulling the mask up over the poor little guy's nose. Watching these, people going in and then people going in and coming out with bags of stuff. And, my girlfriend goes, are you sure that they need all those pillows? Like they're very, pretty pillows and stuff like that. Or, this beautiful piece to go up on the wall and stuff like that. And I feel like people really are wanting to make their homes or making things look good. They're running out and purchasing a lot of stuff, like I'm going to call it non-essential stuff. And it's like, I don't care what the hell people do with their money, but it's just interesting to observe how people are going out. And especially when I see reports from a lot of people, like from my economic dudes. My dudes have one in England and one in LA, and telling me, they show me retail outlets that are empty, like malls that are just, there is nobody in the malls, like nobody's shopping there, and stores are shut down. And, I see, I'm not, just up from where I live, a brand new Adidas store just opened up, which I found very interesting. And another store is going to be opening up. And I'm wondering how long these retail places are going to last. Because a lot of numbers have been coming in for a lot of retail places, like big names. They're down. Even though when I'm watching all of these people spend money on things in the mall, and coming out with bags of stuff, it's just interesting, seeing the actual reports of what's going on. And I've talked to a few managers and stuff like that. How's it going? Is it, everything, and there seems to be a lot of people wanting to hire or looking at, wanting to hire. But I'm not sure how long that's going to last. Now, Canada's a sort of funny place. And I've always noticed that economically, how Canada is, where whatever's happening in the States doesn't hit us maybe for anywhere between 6 months to 2 years. Then, sometimes depending what the trend is, right? So Canada's a little bit behind behind the 8 ball, as you'll say, in how things actually hit us, even when it comes to the real estate bubble. In the States, they're starting to really see it, the crunch coming down, where people are unable to finish a home. So you're buying a home and you don't have a garage door yet. The garage door is somewhere on a ship, or they can't get all the parts to make it. They can't get the screws. They can't get the remote controller part, or whatever it is. They can't get things because they're not produced within that country. They don't have the factories to create it. And, sitting back and observing that is really, I feel, is an awakening for all of us. It's like the Daily Wire came out with a razor, right? And it's a very good razor for men for shaving and stuff like that. But they were getting bombarded that, oh, well, why don't you buy, US and blah, blah, blah. They would love to buy US. They would love to have that. But it can't be made in the US. It can't be made in Canada because we don't have the manufacturing anymore. We've closed them down. We have outsourced so much of our commercial sales to China, to Taiwan, to Shanghai, to Indonesia, India, other places, because it's cheap labor, basically, because it's child labor, because it's cheaper. Even with the shipping and getting it into Canada or getting it into the United States, it's cheaper. So anyways, my story, my observation. And so watching all of that, and I feel like, especially as Canada, we're going to start feeling this crunch, especially financially. Some are feeling it, but yet are not saying anything yet. They're still, living off, that just in case, whatever. My scenario is, because of health reasons, our economic world just went crashing down. If my husband didn't have the stroke, we would be fine. We'd be actually ahead of the 8 ball. We would be actually doing extremely well, because we were just at the point of his stroke is when we were just entering into, yes, I can start doing X, Y, and Z. Now it's like, because of health matters, we are unable to do a lot of things, and the crunch is coming down on us even more. Anyways, putting that aside, where the majority of Canadians are going to start feeling it by summertime. They're going to start feeling that crunch, where a lot of retail outlets are going to be unable to sustain what's going on, unable to keep their employees, because people all of a sudden don't have that excess amount of money that they had before. And those that don't want to admit it, or those that are going to find that it's going to hit them harder, I'm going to say by fall time and going into 2023, because that's when I'm going to predict that's when the depression is going to really hit. That's really when things are really going to hit in 2023, when we're going to, this is right now is our, when it comes to the economy. And I'm not talking about individual people. I'm not talking about spirituality. I'm talking about the global, within the economy. When you're looking at the economy and the global affairs, we are in a tipping year. We are in a year of transitioning and fallout. And this is a year where many are going to see and feel the fallout. Now I'm going to go this. There's a reason for my story. So there's always reasons for my story. At the beginning of the pandemic or plandemic, however you want to say it, we have choices. We have choices to go along with the narrative or not to go along with the narrative. We have choices to be our own unique individual or not. This is what we are seeing before us, what is unfolding before us. The huge part is it comes to freedom and the idea of what freedom is. And this is coming to our basis of our society, of what we believe freedom is, or what that freedom should look like. And we have people that have followed a narrative who say, yes, I want my freedom. My freedom is whatever the government says. My freedom comes in if they say X, Y, and Z, then I'm going with X, Y, and Z, so I can live in my utopia, my so-called utopia. If I go outside of that utopia, if I go and I venture outside of it, then that's when I will feel the unrest, the craziness, the unruliness. That's why many people say, well, my freedoms weren't taken away, because they want to stay in their utopia. They want to stay where they are sheltered, where they are fine, where they don't have to deal with their own freedom of choice. That's where conflict comes in. That's where, different ideologies and things come in. This is where, when we look at freedom, the truth of freedom is, I say what I want to say, and it may offend you, and you may say what you say, and it may offend you. You could continue to follow me or not follow me. It is totally up to you. It is totally your choice on which way you want to go. That's freedom. Freedom is that I have a choice of where I want to shop, how I want to shop, and the foods that I want to ingest within my body. That is my freedom. When the government starts coming in, and this is all part of what I'm observing within the mundane world and the economy, the government comes in and starting to say, well, this isn't healthy for you. You should be eating more of this type of food. And those in the little utopia who want, and I'm calling it their world is a utopia, because they don't want to see anything outside of what is happening within the world around them. They will say, yes, that's fine. Okay, we will go along with it. But it comes a point when people get to a certain point in their world and saying, how far is too far? And that's where we're coming to that tipping point. We're coming to a tipping point where all of a sudden, your little utopia starts to crumble. Starts to crumble because all of a sudden, you're not getting what you thought you were getting. You're not receiving what you thought that you could receive. You go to the grocery store and you wonder why there's no vegetables. You go to the grocery store and you wonder why is my chicken that was $7 last week is like $24 today? Because you lived in this little utopia. You went along with the narrative and you didn't want to look outside. You didn't want to do anything different. It's just like, okay, I will do it that way. Yes, 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 yes. And that causes issues. That causes problems. That causes where an awakening starts to happen with people. And this is where we're at. We're at a place where people are not awakened yet. They don't understand or they don't see what's totally going on. They are following their other narrative. They're following the narrative that's going on what is being projected at them, whether it's the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing. And I don't sit and watch that. You know what? as a society, I think it's horrific that somebody's lives are being displayed in a court. But these are two people who are actors. These are two people that are public figures that are wanting that for whatever reason, good, bad, or ugly. But things that they did not want to come out are going to be coming out and being seen. My microphone is really loud. Is anybody else finding my microphone really loud? I'm not sure. That's just first time I had that. So if my microphone's really loud, I don't know how to turn it down. I can move my microphone away. But this is where people have to do a change or have to do a wake up and begin the wake up. No, you can hear me fine. Okay. All right. So some people can hear me fine, other people. All right, I'm just going to leave it. That's what I'm going to do. So, so this is where. Thank you, everyone. This is where an awakening is happening, but not, as I said. Get back to my word. Not everybody's going to be on it. The Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, whether you're on Team Johnny, Team Amber, whatever. I think more information is coming out, and I've looked at both of their charts, and they got some crazy shit in their charts that are happening. And same with Johnny. Johnny has some crazy hidden shit in his chart, and so does Amber. And I don't think any one is better than the other. I think they're both two people that really need help. and need love in many ways. So these are two people that, as a society, it's like not to consume it as and a lot of people are like consuming it, and it is a moneymaker for many people. I mean, they're making a profit off it on YouTube and different channels, and as soon as anybody mentions it, it's like, ooh, their rates go up because everybody wants to know what their opinion is and what's going on with them. It's another foundational crack within our society. Just put it that way when we see that. Same with that Roe versus Wade in the United States. It's another crack within our society. And it's also an understanding of what freedom is and what that freedom unfolds. What is that? And you also have to go into the understanding of what the United States is made out of. The United States is made out of 50 states, right? And each state is its own country, basically, underneath a federal government, which is there to protect them, to help to provide whatever economics and things along that line. But each state is basically run as its own government. That's what the republic is. So how it's devised and how the people are is a very interesting in how this is unfolding. It is not like how our Commonwealth countries are, because we are a Commonwealth. Canada is a Commonwealth country under Britain. Same with Australia and Ireland and UK and many other countries. We run differently. Our governments and our parliamentary run differently than what they do. Okay? So that's why I say, when I see things happening in the States, especially when it comes to retail outlets, when I see their inflation rate, which they say is 8% or something, and which is not, because they don't do it the same way as they did it in the 70s. They don't take a lot of things into account anymore. Our inflation rate is actually right now at 17%. 17 to 20% right now is our inflation rate, and that is very similar to that of the 70s. And in fact, where Chiron is today in Aries, it's that inflation rate. It's that rising of unexpected changes and coming forth. We're also, when we're looking at the dynamics, we're going to the war. So when we talk about the Ukraine and Russia, it is an interesting dynamics of what it is. It's an interesting dynamics of how this is unfolding. And the threat, this is the very first time in our world's history that we know of, and I'm going to stress that we know of, that we have been under nuclear threat. This is the very first time in our known history. Now that's when you have to go back into different histories and all the way back, even into the Egyptians and Turkish, a lot of the ruins where they have found evidence, or of there must have been some kind of explosion that was nuclear like in this spot. So very interesting. Anyways, so this is different. This is a different type of dynamics. This is a different world unfolding, and people don't want to see that. They don't want to see that. See, the beautiful thing that I love about astrology is that it shows me things. It shows me directions on where it can go. It is an energy. It's a timeline. It can be pretty exact if you when you really get into it. But it's letting us know this is the energy that's coming in. Here's how we can utilize it. Here's how we can grow from this. Here's what we need to start doing in order to maintain a spiritual world, to maintain our sovereignty, to maintain our truth and who we are. Okay. That's that part of the aspects of it. So now when we look at Putin and we look at the president of Ukraine, we look at two people who are very much wanting power. One is willing to dance around because it is able to get money from many different countries, and being able to receive that money, receive what they need in order to protect their country because of their resources. Now, since this energy right now and what we're going into a time of a downfall on the resources. Not saying that we don't have them, but a mismanagement on resources, a mismanagement on how we have farmed out, or we are no longer utilizing the resources that Mother Nature has given us, that God has created for us in a moral, valued way that helps one another. That's part of the awakening. That's part of what's happening. It's getting us to say, hey, you know what? Why can't we make razor blades here in North America? What is it that we do that we cannot create it? Well, it's the cost, it's this, it's that, and it's the labor. But if we bring people up to a place, when we bring people up, and this is where the energy is, when we start to look at it in a place of saying, but if we start doing that here and we can create the abundance, if we create this abundance, why can't we allow for other people to grow and become abundant as well? That's that light energy that's coming in. That's saying that we want to work together. We want to create more of abundance. If we open this up and we can create it, instead of utilizing and demeaning other people to create something that we need because it's cheaper, this is where the awakening comes in. This is where people start to look at and say, oh, I need to grow my own vegetables. I need to get to know my farmer. I need to get to know other people and to support and grow and prosper and move from that way. That's where the energies come in with love and light. The energies come in with love and light to get us to show, but in order for us to see it, the world has to crumble. Because that's the way the human brain is. This is where we have to come in and we have to start seeing that which is no longer there for us, and we're like, holy shit, oh my God, now we gotta change it around and treat it right. Now we got to do something to make our soil better. This is where, we got to do things that are in a different way. And that's part of the awakening. And anybody who's going through any spiritual awakening, it's not easy, because it's not all beautiful blossoms in that utopia that you want to stay in, because it's so nice and it's wonderful and it's comfy and the water's warm and the pillows are soft and everything is there, supposedly, until you walk out and you say, okay, now I have to really step into my light. I have to step into my newness. I have to step into that true sovereign person I am, and step into that and allow myself to grow. And that's where we're at. When we look at the things when it comes to Ukraine, and we look at things that come into Putin, there's so many layers that people are not looking at, or nor do they want to. And this is where we have to look at it. It's not like the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cuban Missile Crisis was so different. The Cuban Missile Crisis, where they were negotiating as soon as this started to happen. Why? It wasn't long after World War II. They knew what war was. They knew what a world war was. They understood what that meant, and the damage it did. Countries were still rebuilding themselves in the 50s after World War II. Japan was rebuilding itself in a new way. Germany was rebuilding itself. The west of Germany, the east of Germany was given to Russia. So this is where, we are in a time that is so unpredictable, so unknown. And many have never had to actually stand out into their sovereignty, into their own selves, and begin to create something. Begin to reach out to others, because they have been so brainwashed by the government, by the media, by the world around them, that they feel that if I stay in this house, if I stay in here, everything's going to be okay, but it's not. So we're stepping forward, and especially as we're going towards a full moon lunar eclipse, full lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Scorpio is the awakening of others, bringing in others, stepping in, pushing boundaries, getting things further than what they've ever been before. That's what it is. It is getting us to really look at our truth. How do we share resources? That is Scorpio. Scorpio 8th house is about shared resources, shared money, shared groups. What do we share? What do we have together? What are we building? And it takes you to the root of things, of how they are accumulated and how they are utilized. The 15th, it's on the 15th of this month, May 15th. So this is getting us to look at, and we're in between eclipses, from the new moon to this full moon. We're in between these eclipses. We're also coming in within 4 days of Mercury going retrograde. Mercury going retrograde, communications, what do we need to go? It's at the early stages of Gemini, and then it's going to retrograde back into Taurus. What do we need to look at it? And it's going to be sitting at that algo point in between Gemini and Taurus and the Pleiadians. This is where we have to awaken. This is where we have to go to. This is what we have to look at within our lives. That is part of this energy. That is part of what we are doing. We also have Jupiter on the same day, a few hours later, going into Aries. That 29 0 point, that 0 point is the beginning. What are we beginning to do? What are we beginning to say? What are we beginning to look at? And this is where we have to look at look at in our lives? What are we looking at to create? Because Jupiter is about expansion, Jupiter is about going forward, and it is in the sign of war. What are you warring in your life? What are you warring? What are you stepping into? What are you creating in your life? What are you starting? I have Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter in Aries is the starter. It's going. Let's get going. Let's get doing. Let's create. That's why I always have so many different workshops and do so many workshops. That's my Jupiter in Aries. I want to create. I want to go. I want to do things. Okay, I've done that. All right, let's go into something else. Jupiter in Aries. Let's go. Let's create. That's a very positive thing of what Jupiter in Aries is. Jupiter in Aries is also coming in to expand. What are we expanding? What are we expanding within the world around us? What is in that expansion? And it is going to bring in some crazy radical energy for people to start to look at and awaken. And that is very, very important. Because people in their own little utopia are going to get a very rude awakening. Just saying. They're going to get a very rude awakening. They're going to get a very unsettling where they're like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Oh, I didn't realize that was going on. I get many clients that come to me and say, why do I have to stock up on food? What's going on? And I'm like, if you go to the grocery store, you'll see the prices increasing. Prices have increased over 35% on food in the last year. Chicken, we're going to be seeing less chicken, because of this flu thing with the ducks and the geese and the chickens and the turkeys. So it's like, if you like chicken, stock up on chicken. Start canning chicken, buying canned chicken. This is, start looking at new ways of doing things. And for myself, I'm pretty stocked up on a lot of stuff. My freezer is really full, thank God. And I do have quite a bit of food in my house. There's, little things here and there, of course, we always need. But I've been blessed that way, and my pantry's full. So I thank God every day for that. But not everybody is, because not everybody was preparing. But this is the time to really look at and what we need to do. This is a time to understand, okay, there's some crazy shit that's going on, and we got to awaken to it. So we have to stand up. We have to really pay attention to our own truth and our own voice, and don't let anybody stop us. Don't let your voice be cut off. We all have opinions of what's going on. Whether, we could go with the pro-life, or where you stand on that. And that's fine. But, understanding and being able to express it, that's your freedom. That's your choice. We all have choices that we have to make. Not all the choices that are being made right now are going to be in alignment with everybody else. And that's fine. That's why we live where we live, even here in Canada. So let us stand up, shine our light, enjoy this beautiful weekend, this Mother's Day weekend. So don't forget about your mother, and make sure you buy her some flowers or whatever she needs. Maybe it's not flowers, or take her out for lunch. Mother's Day back in the day was the busiest day for phone calls. I remember when you had to wait a certain time to make a phone call to your mother because the phone lines were so jammed that they couldn't get through. So you had to wait. And sometimes you'd have to wait till after 5 o'clock because it's cheaper, but it was on a Sunday. So Sunday allowed you to, the phones, long distance calling was cheaper on Sundays, and the phone lines were always jam packed. And this is one of the busiest days besides Valentine's Day for delivery for flowers for moms. So those are two little tidbits there to let you know. So don't forget about your mother. I do have a Mother's Day special. It ends on Sunday. It's 1 hour readings, $80, and the sale will end on Sunday. So if you are wanting to buy it for yourself, or maybe you are going to give it as a gift, and you can give it to that person and they can book in when they are ready to book in. So sending you guys out so much love. There's some craziness in the world. Yes, we know. We're going to feel it's kind of an intense weekend. It seems like every weekend's intense. So we might be feeling a little bit off-centered and trying to find our grounding. But take some time. Sun's out today. So allow yourself to get some sun and enjoy. So may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. I hope my little roundabout spirals made some sense to you and hope to give you some guidance. So blessings to you all, and we will see you probably tomorrow for the weekend report more in detail. Bye-bye.